Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to day 33 session. Today we are just going to have the continuation of the function statement where in this session we are just going to discuss about function's return statement. In Python, to return value from the function, a return statement is used and it returns the value of the expression, and here it is the exact syntax for it. And see here, dear friends, when we just make a declaration of a function and having a function call name, here the under that function we are having some statements that has to be executed or to be done under the function process, and at last we have the return. And for your information, dear friends, have a note of it. The return value is nothing but an outcome of the function. The first one, it's main. It returns statement ends the function expression or execution, and for a function it is not mandatory to return a value. And if a return statement is used without any expression, then the none is returned. And for your most of the thing information, see here, kind of have a note of it. The return statement should be in the inside of the function block. So kindly have note of this indentation. And let me just make use of that with some examples. And this greet, yeah, it is just a function to have a greet. I just execute this, dear friends. And see here, when on calling that function, see, we want to just make a greet with a name, and once on giving that name, it's just going to print that is hello with the value or with the exact argument just passed by the function, and ended with one more string value. And see here, dear friends, here none is returned value, since when greet directly prints the name and no return statements is used. No return statement here we just used. Here just making only the print, and here it just makes the none, where we are directly from the greeting, that is directly from the function, it just makes the print function. Okay, and how to make it, let me just see it with some more functionality. Let have passing arguments with key and value. If we pass the arguments with key and value, the order of the arguments does not matter. And let me just see it with an example. See here, dear friends. So the exact function name here, it is print full name. Okay, that is the exact function name. And so it has an argument of first name and last name. And see here, dear friends, here we are just as we have already seen, I think so, related to this, we are including a space between the first name and second name, and we want to get it done. And even though if we are making this print functionality from the print full name, and we are just making the call of the function by print full name and providing the argument value as Ajanta and Devi, that is the first name and the last name's value. And here we just get the exact output but with a none, because here we are not having the return value. Okay, and second, the same thing with an example of the already we have just seen that adding of two numbers, passing two numbers, that is num1 and num2. See, if we do not return a value with a function, then our function is returning none by default. So to return a value with a function, we use the keyword return followed by the variable we are returning. We can return any kind of data types from the function, be strings or an integer or a float, or even a list can be returned. Okay, let me just make it one by one. See here, we are just making it with a written full name. Okay, and what is the full name? When we just get the arguments as first name and last name, and here within a single line we are just providing the first name and last name. And see the same example which we have just done in the cell 3. Now we are in cell 5. Okay, instead of printing directly from the function, that is the function definition, and here we are just making use of the return, and see here the none is not done here. Okay, that is done, none is not executed. And to the same, let me just make the same example of cell 4. Here we are just returning the total. What is the total? The summation of number 1 and number 2, and we are just giving the value for num 1 and num 2, and when on adding, and see here the same 5 here, but without a none. This is how we just execute it, and this is the main function for using the return value. And see here one more example is that, dear friends, this function returns the absolute value of the entered number. So here, if we are just providing a number, okay, and here inside the function it just makes an evaluation of whether the number is greater than or equal to 0. If it's so, just returns num, or else it has to make a minus num. Okay, so see here, dear friends, as it is greater than num, that is greater than 0, it just returns the same 2, and when on just giving minus 4, it has to be returning as positive number. So see here, it is the exact absolute value. Okay, so minus of minus 4 is positive 4. That is what here. Okay, fine. Let me just move on to the next example. See here, dear friends, we are just making some need some input from the user. Okay, so here what it just did, adding the two values and printing with function. Okay, I want to just get print of a plus b, and what is the a plus b here is sum of a plus a and b, and we want to return a plus b. Okay, and second function is there, where this function, it is just going to make use of only printing hello. So with this two function, what we want to do is, first let me just make the calling of first function and printing the summation of a and b, that is return value of return expression of the first function, and second it just calling the second function, and the last it just make execution of rest of the code. Okay, so let me just execute this and see what is the output. Yeah, see here, dear friends, so adding the two values, printing within function, this comes in the function 1, and a plus b, yeah, it is just getting the value from the sum, and with the arguments 10 and 20, it added and return the expression as a plus b. So what is the a plus b? It is 30. Okay, and here it just print the a plus b first, and next it returns the a plus b, where it is returning with the description as total with a colon and then total. That is what here. Okay, so that is what here it just comes in this statement. And next, calling of the second function, where it just gives only the greet of hello, and next one the normal print function, rest of the code. Okay, fine, dear friends, let me just make one more example with this detailed functionality. Okay, see, I just want to make whether is even, yeah, whether it is even number or not, and I just want to make it from a list. And here we are just creating or declaring an empty list, even number. Okay, and from the list, where this exact list one, you are just getting it from the user, whether it can be input function, or you can just get it by the function arguments. Okay, and when that exact list one by one, the element has to be evaluated whether it is even or not, by making the modulus by 2 equivalent to 0. And if you are just making it as an even number, it has to be appended into a list n. Okay, and that n would be the exact even number where you are getting that returning value. So returning also, it is inside a list value only. Okay, and see, we are just want to call the list by making a list of the function, and here it is the list 2 3 46 63 72 83 90 and 19. So when on passing this function, and this function call would just evaluate whether the element contained in the list is even or not, and once for all returns only the even number. And let me execute this. Yeah, see here dear friends, from this we just got only the even number list as 2, 46, 72 and 90. Okay, returning type with multiple values. Yeah, see here, dear friends, we are having so many multiple values that can also be returned. You can also return multiple values from a function and use the return statement by separating each expression by commas. You can use it. Okay, and here it is an arithmetic operation, and num1 and num2 be the arguments of the functions, and what are all the results we are just going to return is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So all this value we are just going to return it. And when on returning, and see here dear friends, we are just making it in a multi declaration of a variable within a single statement, where the arithmetic is the function call, and once on making this we just get the return expression as the value of different multiple values. Okay, for add or subtraction, multiple division, where each and everything we are just declaring it with a name as a variable name as a, b, c and d, and that's it with the resulted what is the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of the same. See here dear friends, this is how you can make use of multiple values. Yeah, next let me just see how returning Boolean values. Yeah, exactly, you can just make use of Boolean values as true or false. And see here dear friends, so is even, yeah, it is just going to get only one value or one argument from the function, and it is just going to check whether it is an even or not. And before it checking, it just make a print function as even as a heading, and wherever you are just calling it, if it is modulus by 2 divided equivalent to 0, it returns true or else false. So this exactly, see here, there are two returns where return stops further execution of the function. This makes that as like a break when it returns true. Okay, and if it is not, furtherly it returns false according to the function call, main call. Okay, so that is what's difference between these two return function. Okay, let I just execute. See here dear friends, we have just given two statements, one is 10 and 7, where 10 is the even, so it is returned true, and it made a break, that is terminated the exact statement, and it jumps to the next statement. And when the next statement is also a function call, where it just want to evaluate whether 7 is an even or not. And see here, as it is not, so this condition, that is if condition, it is not satisfied, so it is not getting into the it is not getting into the print function. Okay, so it just comes out of the function and it returns false. And for your information, see here, if I just provide this also as a even number, I would just get two even output here. Okay, let I just execute. See here dear friends, so one even is for 10, second even is for 8. So here it just makes the true condition here, and then it just enters into the if block. So once if it is entering into the if block, it just makes the return true, and then make the break, that is terminate the current flow, and it jumps onto the output. Okay, so that is how this happened. Okay, next let me just move on to return a list. And see here dear friends, as we have already made one of the statement returning a list, where list it's a single element. So as like single element, we can just make use of it. And here also the same, but what it just make it is, here it is just going to get only one value as a string value. Okay, and with that string value, an function argument value, and with that it just makes the for range. Okay, so that makes as a range, and with that range it just making whether only the even numbers we have to make it, and that it is appending in the I, and once for all it is just going to execute it as a return value. And here the return expression is a list. And see here dear friends, it is just going to have a 10, and from 0 to 10 it is just going to have as a range, and from that it is just going to extract only the even as a list, and here it is the output. Okay, how to call a function in Python? Yeah, we have already seen that example, but anyhow, I just want to give you a small definition. That is, once we have defined a function, we can call it from another function. So program or even the Python prompt. So to call a function, we just simply type the function name with the appropriate parameter. If we are not having any if we are not having any parameter into the declaration of the function, yeah, you should not give the parameter in the call function also. If you are providing one single value argument, yeah, you have to call it with the same single value only. If you are having multi-value, or you have to give the multi-value, so you have to just be conscious on what is the exact function when on making it and defining. Okay, and let me just make you see, we have already given a function greet. So here I'm just calling it, yeah, hello Ajan, good morning. Yeah, so with that function, see, actually kindly just have a note of it, dear friends. Try running this code, okay, in the program with function definition to see the output, where if you are just having this function already greet, you have already defined earlier. So even though in this example, see here, you have already done here. So whenever you are defined, you can just call wherever you want. If it is not defined, you are just going to get it an error. Okay, so let me just make one more functionality, define wish. Okay, so this is also the same thing, but let me just have it with the greeting, or now it is an wishing thing. Okay, so just we want to wish a happy birthday and hope you have a wonderful day, and we are just going to pass a value as an argument. Okay, and here what is the argument is the name of a person. Let it be a first name or a last name. Okay, let me just give a short name also. Yeah, happy birthday Bill, hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, so this is the same thing, you can just make use of defining and then calling the function. And see here, dear friends, you can also make use of multiple calling, and when on just see this greetings, uh, uh, it just has the name is equal to friends, and here you are just providing greeting as Ajanta. Okay, and here you are not having any values. So how you can just make it is, see here, dear friends, if you are providing the value here, it just take it as a default, and without arguments you can just pass it. And if you are specifying something, that value would be assigned to this. And see here, we are having two greetings function call, and let I just execute. See here, dear friends, so for the first one, it defaultly took the value which is inside the argument. But when I just provide a particular value to that of function, it assigned to the new one and made the greeting. That is how. So it is overwritten to that offer. Okay, and let me just make one more example. See here, here I just want to make it a full name. Okay, and defaultly I'm just providing the argument as first name is equal to Ajanta, last name as a Devi, and with a space. And I just want to return that full name with a concatenation of first name, space, and the last name. When I just call it without any arguments, yeah, it is just going to return Ajanta Devi. If I am just particularly with this Idan and Hand, yeah, it is just going to make it as Idan and Hand. So it is just function overwriting, also overloading, we can just make use of it. And see here, dear friends, here one more calculation. Let me just make just an expression. It is going to evaluate the age by making the current age, and if you want to calculate it, yeah, here it is, what is the age is 201. Okay, and next there was an example for it was a mainly what is this function is, first I want to swap it, the number, that is, I'm just giving x and y, so two arguments I'm just going to give you. Okay, in the argument, when I'm just calling the function, this two values I want to swap it. So in that swapping, it is not directly possible to make that swapping. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to include a third value, declare a third value, so as a temporary value, and with that I'm just making this swap. And once for all swapping, okay, once after the swapping, I just want to print the value of x is and the value of y is. Okay, and see here, dear friends, let we just make x is equal to 6, y is equal to 9, and after swap, this is x comma y. Okay, so here let I just make this value, okay, here, so it would be very easy to know. Okay, without indentation I have to give it. Okay, this value of x before a swap. Okay, before swap. Okay, let I just execute this, dear friends. See, before swap my x value is 6, y is 9, and after swapping my x value is 9 and y is 6. Okay, so this is done only by using this function call. Okay, and yeah, next I just want to give one more example here, whether the given number is odd or even. So I just want to check whether my given or value is odd or even. Okay, so here 9 is an odd number, and if I just want to give some other, let I just give 4. Yeah, 4 is a even number. So that is how you can just make use of this function and check whether it is the given number is odd or even. And yeah, this example we have already seen, I think so, we have already discussed. That is the weight of an object in newtons. It has to be return value, and by getting the value of mass only. Okay, here, where here gravity is equal to 9.18, it is defaultly provided, and weight of the object 100, if you just provide, yeah, it is just going to multiply it by the average gravity of the earth surface, and it is going to return the value. Let I just make it, see here, oh sorry. Okay, see here, so weight of an object in newtons, two times I have just called the function, one is with 100 and another it is with 1.62 of the gravity. Okay, so if I just give the value of gravity, so it accepts its, that is overwriting the new values, and if it is not, if I am not providing the gravity value, it defaultly takes as 9.81. And for your information, see here, dear friends, here I have just given some of the functions exercise with level 1 and level 2, level 3. So kindly have hands-on and make use of this exercise. Thank you, dear friends.